Hi, I'm Venus O'Hara. Welcome to a new video. I make content about holistic self-love, and I want to thank everyone who's been leaving comments on my videos. I tried to answer all of them today, and there were a couple of them actually that were so inspirational, so inspiring that I thought I would make video replies instead. And this is one of them. This is in reply to a comment that talked about promiscuous pasts potentially making it difficult to create and establish and cultivate emotional bonds, emotional connection with people. So I thought I would just, give you my opinion on this. So can having a promiscuous past make it more difficult to establish emotional connections? Yes or no? What do you think? Please leave us a comment below. I would be very interested to see what you think. I'm going to share with you my opinion which is based on my perspective, my experience, and all those things. So I am someone who is interested in people of the midlife demographic and above, midlife, let's say, and it would be very suspicious if someone has not had some kind of baggage or some kind of history. And I think for me, I feel safer with someone who has had a promiscuous past at some point. Not constantly, but at some point where they've lived the experience of variety, and to the point where they know what they want today. That's for me is so important. And the same for me. I feel that I've had so many different experiences that I know what I want today. And it's not, going on dating apps and having lots of one-night stands. I've never even done that, to be honest. But it's just, I know that I don't want that because I've tried other things. Whereas if you're with someone who has no experience or very little experience, I'm more suspicious about that, or about maybe their lack of curiosity, or their curiosity, actually, their curiosity that they may have about exploring new people, new bodies, new experiences, etc. And I think it's really important to point out that, sexuality is a very personal expression. It's like how you eat, I mean, I'm a vegan, so I hear these arguments all the time, like carnivore versus vegan versus, and all these different types of vegans, like junk food vegans and raw food vegans and blah, blah, blah. And I think sometimes, we're very quick to point fingers at other people about, you're not doing it right, you're not doing it right. Whereas we should be really looking at ourselves, and I'm really talking about sexuality here as well as food and sex, so linked. And I think it's important to, connect with yourself and ask yourself, what is your why? What is your intention? What is your desire? What is the purpose of sex? Not just in general, but that's something to look at as well, but what is the purpose or the point of this encounter that you are about to have? And that goes for anyone, promiscuous or not. Even for people who are, let's say, in a more kind of maybe traditional or religious backgrounds, it's also, you have to honor your own needs. Is this lifestyle serving you, and is it authentic for you? And also the extremely promiscuous person, is this really serving you? Is it feeding your soul, So I think we should, stop pointing fingers at other people's types of expressions of sexuality and look at ourselves and what our own intentions are. And morals aside, I think it's quite normal, at least in my world, for people to have, let's say, monogamous relationships and then all in, very deep emotional bonds, and then a period of, let's say, that relationship ends, and then periods of dating or celibacy, maybe some promiscuity, and then they go into another relationship, and then they can commit fully. And this middle period doesn't really affect this period because you've had these experiences that have been fun, but there's been a limit. There's been, a time when the morning after you don't really want to have breakfast with that person. And I have a friend actually who was explaining to me about a time in his life when he became very, very promiscuous and curious about sexuality. And the woman he married was the one he wanted to have breakfast with. And that's a danger sometimes when you kind of go very quickly with different people. You're kind of becoming intimate physically very quickly, and maybe you can lose interest in that particular person on an emotional level or a mental level or a spiritual level because you've gone into the physical too quickly. But what's too quickly? That's only for you to decide. But I think sometimes it's nice to maybe take a step back and not go for just instant gratification all the time, unless you're very sure that that person is just a friend with benefits. But those situations can also get a little bit emotionally complicated as well. But for me personally, I prefer to be with someone who has had those phases in their lives where they have experimented, they have experienced different people, so they know for sure that they want to be with me. That for me is super important. I don't want someone to be like half in, or I want someone to be very sure because they've, been with other people and they know it's not as good as being with me. They're just facts. And then also I think when people want to have different people all the time, let's say this ongoing promiscuity and new bodies. I've spoken to a friend who has this type of sexuality, and they said that they want to have access to different people, and I get it, but it's just not my it's not my particular expression. But you wonder, like, is this newness? Is someone always chasing this newness all the time? Is there scope for depth within these experiences? For me personally, I've actually created this course, which I'm going to bring out very soon. If you're interested in it, please leave a comment below, or even subscribe to my Substack or my social media, because I'll be putting it on everywhere. I'll be putting it on this channel as well. But I've made this course called Beyond the Body, and something in one of my workshops that I have created, I call it the sexual sequence. And I believe that 95% of sexual encounters, because not that I've been in everyone's bedroom, but I assume that most sexual encounters between, let's say, heterosexual encounters between a man and a woman follow this sequence. So it's, It's kiss, caress, undress, manual stimulation, optional oral sex, penetration, male orgasm, game over. And that's it all the time. And if you're doing that all the time, naked in a bed, in the dark, or kind of low lights, the same sequence, reverting to the same positions all the time, it's normal that you're going to get bored. So I have actually created this course called Beyond the Body, the Art of Transcendental Sex. And there are 4 modules in this course, and there is the body that takes it out of this sequence. And then there is the heart, so how to create and establish and deepen emotional bonds. And then there is the mind, how to cultivate sapiosexual intellectual connections that are erotic. And also then finally there's a soul connection as well, about how to connect with someone on a very spiritual level. And I believe that once you have found someone who does helps you transcend the physical, and gets you into an emotional state, at least, there's just more depth in it. And for me, I seek more depth in a person, more depth in an encounter than more numbers, if you see what I mean. So I definitely do think it's possible to have a fulfilling, deep, connected, emotional connection with someone, even if you've both, or thanks to the fact that you've both been promiscuous, because you know what you want. And I think that's really important. But the problem is with that, when you have had a history of not just of promiscuity, but also of previous relationships and heartbreak, some people tend to close up and not give as much because they are afraid of hurt. And I think that's something that I have actually overcome. I've overcome this fear of emotional pain, and that makes me kind of more willing to just go all in and just be fearless when it comes to love, which is really wonderful. And there are some tools that I have actually that really helped me to come to this space. And something I really recommend, if this is you, is a book called A Soulful Marriage. And even though this is a book for people who are in committed relationships, there is a big chapter or big module in it all about conflict and how to leverage conflict. And if you understand all these different tools that help a couple connect better, to communicate better, and if you're both on board and willing to work on it, then I think that fear goes away, that fear of the pain Because pain is inevitable, but it's kind of like a pain that's kind of worth it, if you see what I mean. There's always a cost and reward and all of that, but it's about there being more reasons to stay than go, kind of thing. So I definitely do believe that you can create and establish and enjoy emotional depth if you've been promiscuous in the past. The point is, you have to not want to be promiscuous now and start thinking, oh yeah, actually I'm with her, but I'd rather be with her. That's not really what I'm talking about with this. It's really wanting to be with a person, being invested in them, and invested in who they are and, what makes them tick, and being accepting of them and when they're not at their best, and being supportive and all of that. Because relationships are so layered, and I think that's the beautiful thing, actually. I think, for me personally, I think familiarity is way sexier than mystery. And I think sometimes when you create and cultivate deeper connections, when you create your own language, your own silly things that you do that people from outside would not even understand, I think that's really, really hot. Anyway, I'm going to leave it there. And I would love to know your opinion on this. This is something I'm quite passionate about, as you can see maybe. And so leave us a comment below. Do you think it's possible to create, cultivate, establish, deepen emotional connections if you've been promiscuous in the past? Please leave a comment below. And also, if you want me to make a video on any topics related to relationships, sexuality, if you have any requests, also leave a comment. And check out the links in the description. I've got lots of good links there that I'd love to share with you. Got my social media, got my book, Orgasmic Manifestation, Transform Your Life with Your Sexual Energy. And what else do I have there? I have my Substack, my podcast, The Orgasmic Lifestyle, and all of those good things. Anyway, thank you for watching. Thanks for all your comments, and thank you for supporting me. Mwah.